If you buy me this set of cosmetics you promised, I'll agree to be with you. Are we students? Yes. I've just started my internship and only earn about 275 USD a month. This set costs over 413 USD. Do you want me to starve? I don't care. Starve if you have to. You asked if it's expensive, but you promised to buy it for me. Darling, please don't be like this. It's really too expensive. So what if it's expensive? Can't you just work more part-time jobs? This is really too expensive. Can we buy a cheaper one? Look, we're still young. We can buy it when we have more money in the future, okay? How is this expensive? It's for my face. I just want to use something better. Besides, not having money is your problem. You can call your family. Call them now. That doesn't seem right. It's none of your business. I don't care. Just buy it for me. If you buy it, I'll agree to be with you. Young man, that items aren't appropriate for your age to use. Let's not discuss this further. What's it to you, you little sales clerk? Little sister, I shouldn't interfere. But when you're capable in the future, I'd welcome you to buy it. But now, it's really not appropriate. The salesperson is right. What do you mean, right? I want this set. Were you lying to me before? Don't you love me? When we're capable in the future, we'll encounter better and more suitable options. Or, if you want it, you can buy it yourself. I think this bag looks quite nice. You think so? I think it's okay. And it's very versatile too. Yes, it is. Miss, how much is this bag? It's 45,000 yuan, about 6,200 USD. That's not too bad, right? It's okay. Why don't you buy me this bag? I'll buy it for you. You mean you want me to buy it for you? Yes, it's our first blind date. Isn't it normal for you to buy me a bag to show your sincerity? You just said it's our first date, and you're asking for a 45,000 yuan bag. How is that showing sincerity? I'm here for a blind date with you. You know it's a blind date. If we get married in the future, I'll have to bear your children too. Can you stop trying to grab money? You know this is a blind date, right? Why don't you go on a date with yourself? Show sincerity to yourself. How can you be like this? You show sincerity to yourself. Don't go on a date with me. Go find someone else to date if you want. The rise of the gold digger culture in China is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the country's social and economic problems. This trend, where people seek relationships purely for money, has become so common that there are even classes teaching these behaviors. It's a clear sign of how bad things have gotten in China. In one day, I went on 3 blind dates, one in the morning, one at noon, and one in the evening. As usual, both parties introduced themselves and stated their criteria for a partner. I only mentioned 3 of my most important requirements. First, a bride price of 80,000 USD. Second, a premarital purchase of a fully paid house, no less than 150 square meters, with the property deed transferred to my name. Third, after marriage, the husband's entire salary should be handed over to me. However, after I finished stating these, the other party just gave a cold laugh. He said that out of politeness he would pay the bill first and then leave. As a result, he paid and left me alone in the restaurant. I really don't understand why today's women, including my girlfriend, are so ignorant. A 2 yuan bottle of water can quench your thirst, yet she insists on drinking milk tea that costs over 10 yuan. There are so many meal options, yet she picks a 30 yuan hamburger. Just one hamburger costs over 30 yuan. That money can afford a basic meal. That is just way too expensive. If I ask her to save money, she responds with, "Isn't this just daily consumption? It doesn't cost much." What? How are we supposed to save money to buy a house this way? So I decided to have a serious talk with her, but I didn't expect her to say, "You think spending a little money on food and drinks is being materialistic, but I bought you a pair of shoes that cost more than 100 yuan. That's not what I mean. I spent more money on you than the money I can save for our future. Both the bride price and the house need money. How can I marry you if you keep spending like this? What are we saving money for? I save money to marry you, but you're not even willing to not spend a few dozen yuan. What kind of love are you talking about?" To understand how serious this issue is, we need to look at the numbers. China has about 30 million more men than women. That's like having the entire population of a country the size of Australia or Malaysia made up of only men who can't find partners. This huge gender gap is making dating and marriage extremely difficult for many Chinese men. Women these days who are in their mid-20s, at their peak attractiveness, can't find men meeting their criteria like car, house, etc. Yet at 30, as leftover women with declining looks, they still expect to find such men. This is unrealistic. A 37-year-old Shanghai woman listed partner requirements including being born in Shanghai, property ownership, 300,000 yuan, about 41,000 USD or more annual income, top university master's degree, 180 centimeters or more in height, and parents with pensions. The probability of finding men like that is so low. In dating, men primarily value youth and beauty in women. Even highly educated men may choose less educated partners if they're attractive. Women's assets or income are often not put in considerations. Women might benefit more from investing in their appearance than emphasizing career achievements when dating. Fashion and attractiveness often matter more in getting men's initial interest. Dating websites often disappoint women seeking high-quality men. These men are usually quickly matched through social circles and don't need online platforms. In cities, there are typically more women than men in the dating pool. The gender imbalance doesn't necessarily advantage urban women, as excess men are mostly in rural areas with little to offer. It's naive for women to have increasingly high standards as they age. Those unable to find ideal partners in their prime years are unlikely to do so later as leftover women. Women should be more realistic about their expectations and value their youth and attractiveness while they have it. The cost of trying to find a partner and get married in China has become incredibly high. In many places, men are expected to pay a bride price of 14,000 USD to 28,000 USD to the bride's family. In some areas, this price can go up to 56,000 USD. To put this in perspective, the average yearly salary in China is around about 12,000 USD. This means many men would need to save their entire salary for 2 to 6 years just to pay the bride price, not counting any other expenses like buying a house or paying for a wedding. The prevalence of older single women in Wuhan is surprising, and the reasons are both realistic and disheartening. In Wuhan's parks like Xiaoping, Zhongshan, and Hongshan, walls are filled with profiles of older single women, while men's profiles are few. It's now common to see 9 women competing for 1 man. This contradicts the notion that China has 30 million more men than women. Wuhan has nearly 800,000 older single women, while Shanghai has over 100,000. I had dinner with a 38-year-old female colleague who shared her criteria for a partner. Must own a fully paid house within Wuhan's second ring road, and a car, with savings with monthly income of at least 2,800 USD. At least a bachelor's degree, preferably from a top university. Preferably an only child, or with at most 1 sister. His parents must have their own pension and live separately after marriage. Must be at least 180 centimeters tall, as she's 156 centimeters. Must be romantic, remember important dates, and share housework. She earns over 10,000 yuan, about 1,400 USD monthly, which is relatively high for women in Wuhan. She wants good educational resources for future children, and doesn't want to help pay a mortgage after marriage. After hearing her criteria, I realized I didn't even meet her standards. I'm puzzled because if a man meets all these criteria, why would he choose a 38-year-old single woman over a younger, beautiful university graduate? Many older single women seem influenced by media portrayals of ideal partners, dreaming of white knights and domineering CEOs. In reality, there aren't many men with such perfect conditions. Isn't it better to find an ordinary person and live a good life together? The phenomenon of older single women is seen in other cities like Shanghai and Beijing too. What do you think are the reasons behind this increasing trend? Please share your thoughts in the comments. The housing situation makes things even worse. In big cities like Beijing or Shanghai, the average price for an apartment can be more than 688,000 USD. Even in smaller cities, prices are often over 138,000 USD. With the average salary being what it is, it would take decades for most people to save enough to buy a home without help from their families. These financial pressures are causing many young people to give up on dating and marriage altogether. The marriage rate in China has dropped by about 40% in the last 10 years. In 2013, there were 13.5 million marriages in China. By 2021, this number had fallen to just 7.6 million. That's nearly 6 million fewer marriages each year. The birth rate in China is also falling dramatically. In 2016, there were 17.9 million babies born in China. By 2022, this number had dropped to just 9.56 million. That's a decrease of almost 50% in just 6 years. This rapid decline is happening much faster than experts predicted and is causing serious concerns about China's future. With fewer young people getting married and having children, China is facing a rapidly aging population. By 2050, it's estimated that 39% of China's population will be over 60 years old. That's more than 500 million elderly people. At the same time, the working age population ages 15 to 59 is expected to shrink by about 200 million people. This means there will be fewer young workers to support a much larger elderly population, putting enormous strain on China's economy and social services. The pressure to succeed financially is intense in China. Many young people are working extremely long hours in what's called the 996 work culture, working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. Despite this, many still feel they can't get ahead. This has led to the rise of concepts like lying flat and let it rot, where young people are choosing to opt out of the rat race entirely. The 10 No's youth phenomenon is another worrying trend. This refers to young people who have given up on 10 different aspects of life, including buying a house, getting married, having children, and even socializing or helping others. This widespread disillusionment is a sign of how hopeless many young Chinese people feel about their future. Trust in relationships and in society as a whole is breaking down. With so much emphasis on money, many people feel that genuine connections are impossible to find. This lack of trust is spreading to all areas of life, with many believing that success is more about who you know or how rich you are than about hard work or being a good person. The Chinese government is trying to address these issues, but so far their efforts haven't been very successful. They've relaxed the one-child policy and are offering incentives for people to have children, but birth rates continue to fall. They're trying to control housing prices and bride prices, but these remain out of reach for many people. All of these problems are interconnected and are creating a perfect storm that threatens China's social stability and economic future. The gold digger culture, the gender imbalance, the high costs of dating and marriage, the falling birth rates, the aging population, and the loss of hope among young people are all symptoms of a society under enormous strain. If these trends continue, China could face serious economic and social crises in the coming decades. The country's rapid economic growth over the past few decades has come at a high cost, and now the bill is coming due. Unless significant changes are made, China may struggle to maintain its position as a global economic powerhouse. The situation in China serves as a warning to other countries about the dangers of rapid economic development without considering the social and cultural impacts. It shows how important it is to maintain a balance between economic growth and social well-being. As China struggles to address these complex and interconnected issues, the rest of the world is watching closely, knowing that what happens in China will have far-reaching effects on the global economy and international relations.